Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jonathan Edwards. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of CyberWarrior Academy, and I want to thank you for joining us today on this discussion with one of our former students, Dakota Roice, on his journey into cybersecurity. We are going to talk about what led him to cybersecurity, his experiences as a student, his experiences as an employee, a cybersecurity professional, and wherever else the conversation goes. So again, thank you very much. Dakota, thank you for joining us today for this important event that helps us highlight the importance of Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which is the entire month of October, as most people know.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on here and have the opportunity to speak. And I apologize if you hear me sniffle or cough. I'm just recovering from the flu.
Well, that's all right. I hope you're well on the way to recovery. So anyway, first of all, let's just level set here. Tell me what's your you're Dakota Roice, obviously, but what's your title and who do you work for right now?
Yeah, so I'm currently a cybersecurity associate at a NAES Corporation, which is an energy service company that focuses on operation and maintenance of power generation plants, renewables and storage. We're also an energy consulting firm. We're also a construction company. We focus on compliance and asset management as well. So we kind of have all our fingers dipped in the whole realm of energy.
So nothing you just said, nothing tells me that they need a cybersecurity professional or a cybersecurity team as part of their company. What is cybersecurity? How does cybersecurity interact with all the things you just mentioned, from energy to construction, et cetera?
Yeah, so at least from our team, we just a small team of three. Our program's fairly new, and so being in energy, a lot of people might think we focus on OT, but we're more of the corporate side. So we let our plants, who are owned by a third-party entity who contract, we have the staff who put on the hard hats and work on the plants, but we don't necessarily focus cybersecurity on protecting the OT environments there. We're more our corporate side. And so, the things that I do, that I contribute, is more end user awareness, but then more, I'd say more office workers and maintaining, their safety and their security. So for example, I create the monthly newsletters. Me and my team, we put down, do some research, find some important topic, you might say, of a month, and we'll construct a newsletter, send that out to the masses. So just to raise awareness and visibility of certain topics for our end users to kind of stay on top of things. And on top of that, we also create monthly and annual cyber awareness training. So we partner with another security vendor that allows us to create different training videos and clips to also focus on specific topics to give the end user a better advantage in creating a more secure and safe working environment. And to kind of culminate that, I also create monthly phishing campaigns based on that monthly topic to kind of test our users to see who's actively engaging in the training and seeing their skills put to the test. But that it also gives us kind of an idea of where we need to focus on our end user training and where we're most vulnerable. And a couple other things, I guess I can just run through, what I do on a day-to-day or weekly, monthly basis too, as well. Is we also do I maintain and run vulnerability scans, every month to identify, vulnerabilities in our environment and meet with the respective teams to create a plan to fix those vulnerabilities, just so we can, stay ahead of the game and make sure, we don't have a breach or a ransomware attack. I also, part of that, I do daily threat hunting, intelligence gathering. So every day I'm surfing the web, reading the news of what's going on in the world, what products or solutions maybe having issues that I need to contact, my infrastructure team to engage with them to ensure that they're aware of this vulnerability or this new issue coming out so we can fix it. And then, honestly, my day-to-day functions are more of just managing alerts, through all our security solutions, analyzing incidences, responding to those, doing quick fixes, reaching out to end users, and just kind of managing our endpoint protection solutions as well. And then, like I said, we're only a 3-man shop, so I kind of wear multiple hats. And on top of that, we're part of creating policies and standards to better harden our infrastructure, but then also developing our cybersecurity posture and our program. And with creating those policies and standards, we're also have to implement security controls, and I also do auditing. So I do a lot of different things for just being an associate.
Yeah, because as an energy company, you're probably somewhat regulated by Arizona by I don't know who it would be in Arizona, but I'm sure it's pretty highly regulated.
Oh yeah, well, we're so since our company operates in all of North America, we have plants not just in the States but also in Canada and Mexico. So I believe we're under NERC, which is, if my boss sees this, he's going to butcher me on the acronym, but it's pretty much just like a energy compliance standard that we have to follow.
Okay. So how many people work for NAES? Do you know?
Yeah, at NAES, it's kind of hard to put an exact number on it because we also, with everything I listed that we do, we're also heavily in merger and acquisition. So, all the services that we do for consulting and construction and asset management, those are all individual companies that over time NAES has purchased. And so I think we are around, I would say 2,500 to 3,000 employees.
Okay. All right. So this is interesting because obviously cybersecurity touches companies and industries that you would never imagine being needing cybersecurity awareness and training. I'm wondering, Dakota, what were you doing before you came to CyberWarrior Academy and to NAES? And I should say to people that Dakota is a graduate of CyberWarrior Academy, one of our strong students that found a pathway into a cybersecurity profession. So what were you doing before CyberWarrior Academy?
Yeah, honestly, before CyberWarrior Academy, I was a correctional officer up in Washington State. I did that for some time, but prior to that, I was in the military. I served 4 years in the United States Marine Corps Infantry.
What did you do in the Marine Corps?
So by the time I got out in 2019, I was a sergeant in the infantry. Infantry is kind of the boots on the ground, kicking in doors. I did have a combat deployment under my belt where we were in Syria, helping local forces, eradicate ISIS from Syria and try to gain back their territories. And so it was it's like a security mindset, as I always say, always securing our mission. And as tacky as that sounds, infantry is very, very broad, but it's just basically providing support to those in need.
So you were an infantryman. You were a correctional officer. You had no IT experience.
None. I knew how to turn on a computer. I knew how to create a PowerPoint and open up a Word document.
And browse the web.
Yep.
Yeah. So you know how to look at ESPN.
Yep. Knew how to look at ESPN.com. I knew how to use Google for any questions I had.
Okay. So what inspired you to want to get into cybersecurity?
Honestly, what inspired me was, when I transitioned out of the military in 2019, something that stuck with me is when I was in boot camp, my drill instructor said, he was talking to all the recruits, and he was like, let me see who, raise your hand if you're going infantry. So I raised my hand, and he's just like, just so you know, when you get out of the military, there's only 2 career paths for you, either law enforcement or a janitor. And so when I got out of the military, I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I had a cousin at the time go into corrections, and he's like, come to corrections with me. Like, And to me, that was the easiest transition because I went from military with a security mindset and just had all that under my belt. And so I was like, I think this is the easiest transition. And so I was working corrections for so long, and it was, I liked it. It was a good gig, but unfortunately I was working over 72 hours a week, never being able to come home. And then my now wife got pregnant. And so I was like, oh, I'm staying in this job. I got to have health benefits, got to have, security, so we can have a good living. And once my daughter was born, I was working so much. I just was never home. I was missing out on opportunities, to see my daughter grow and learn and be, build good relationship with her. And so I kind of realized like, I needed a change that would allow me to spend more time with my family. But then also I felt like I wasn't accomplishing enough. I felt like I wasn't accomplishing what I was truly set out to do. And so I wanted a more meaningful career, but something that also gave me safety and security, and something in a career field that was always growing and in demand. And I wasn't going to be struggling to find, a job. And also something, I'm not a school person. I don't like college. I've never did good in school. I don't have that mental capacity to sit and read a textbook and learn from it. And, with cybersecurity, you don't need a degree. And so I think that's what also intrigued me as well. And so, one day when I was off work, I was just browsing the internet. I was looking through all the resources that provided to veterans through the VA, and I found some webinars about CyberWarrior. And then I started doing some Googling about CyberWarrior Academy, and then what your processes are and what cybersecurity is. And my initial thought of seeing a CyberWarrior and cybersecurity, I was just like, well, my whole life has been in a security mindset. I feel like this, as long as I can learn the technical skills, I think I was like, I can definitely do this. And so it was more of something that I think initially could relate to, and that could allow me to spend more quality time at home with my family.
Okay, so family is obviously important to you. You and I have had a lot of conversations in the past, and one of the things that I and I'm hoping you don't mind sharing it. You talked a lot about your upbringing when you were a child, and how that also was a motivating factor for you and your choices on your career. Do you mind talking about a little bit about that without, I don't want to open up,
No, yeah, absolutely. And, everyone has their own different path growing up. And for me, I'm very fortunate to have, awesome, fantastic, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents that, always have that, give me that family like feel of, what it's like being part of a good family. And, my mom growing up worked 2 jobs, single mom, worked day and night just to let me, live a normal life as a kid. And so I think early on that kind of set me this mentality in my head that, I don't want to be put in a position where I have to work so much for my child to, just get by. And I also want, my mom made huge sacrifices where she sacrificed time to spend with me and time to go to my sports events and be with me so she could work, but she needed to work to provide for me. And so as I was growing up, I'm like, I need to set myself up for success. So, I don't have to follow that path, and I can be able to, have financial freedom that allows me to spend more time with my kids and my family. And that's where I initially thought, I was like, I'm joining the military. I think that'll give me a basis of, what it's like to be a man, kind of mature in myself, have a bigger purpose in life, and just kind of build that self-confidence that I believe that I was lacking, that would allow me to have that self-discipline as an adult that will lead me towards success. And so I think it was, being very appreciative of the people in my life that gave me the ability to build my character and provide the opportunities for me to succeed in life. And now I feel like I owe it to at least my mom, who worked her ass off, who worked her butt off, to get me to where I am. And so now every day I'm trying to, lead by her example and make sure that, family comes first, but also not sacrificing that family quality time.
So is cybersecurity accomplishing that part of your goal for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say cybersecurity, has made my life for the better. It's not only has it allowed me to, you know, learn a new skill and feel more accomplished in life, but it's also given me stability for growth, and it's unlocked, tremendous amount of opportunities for me. But it's also allowed me to have, at least at my current company, my current role, it's allowed me to have that equal work and home life balance to where now I can spend as much time with my daughter as I can, to be there for her, to be there at events, just to show up. And so it's definitely given me the opportunity to, put my family first. Because at the end of the day, like, I will always put my family first and make sure, that my kids know, like, oh, there's dad, he's in the stands, he's watching me. Like that's my end goal.
Got it. That's cool. That's very cool. So I want to go back to your military career for a second. You're in Syria. Not a fun place.
Hmm.
I can't imagine. Maybe it is, but I it's not a place that I'd want to be, I don't think. Battling ISIS. How does that experience help you succeed in your job today, if at all?
I would say, just having that discipline, um, just that discipline to stay dedicated to your work, and also just having that integrity to own up to mistakes. And, nobody's perfect. In the world of cybersecurity, you make a mistake, it could cost a lot of money, and, you could lose your job for making a small mistake, but being able to own up to it, but then also not, I would also say, what the military and like has trained me to do is not be disposable. So to always make myself, useful, and to always find new avenues of growth that could help, my cybersecurity program always improve and stay more secure. So, I mean, just that, like in the military, just kind of, it puts you in this mindset of just accomplishment and always wanting to succeed and do more. And so I feel like I'm always pushing myself to get to the next level.
Okay. Do you feel like some of your experiences helped you understand how to respond under pressure?
100%. That's what the Marine Corps, especially being infantry, we thrive in chaos. There's a saying in the Marine Corps, in the infantry, is controlled chaos. That's our office. We control chaos. We work under pressure, and we love high stress environments because that's where we thrive. And that's where we're able to put ourselves in these positions of where there's just everything's going on in the world. You don't have time to think, and you just need to react. And it's allowed me to transition back just to the civilian life in general, to like keep that same characteristics where I stay cool, calm, and collective, and there's nothing that can overstress me, and I can stay locked in, and I'm in the zone. I guess you could say I'm in the zone, and I'm focused. Nothing can distract me from my end goal.
So that probably helped as well with your experience as a student at CyberWarrior in terms of discipline and persistence, or talk about that, or no? I mean, don't let me give you.
I mean, no, 100%, because it was, with CyberWarrior, it was a whole new field. It was a brand new field where I didn't know nothing. And, one of my biggest pet peeves is not knowing. If I don't know what I'm getting into, that scares me because I don't know what to expect. I don't know how to prepare myself, and I don't know how to, get ahead of things. And so getting into a new career field, and this new experience at CyberWarrior, it was very it was very eye-opening, but it was also very like nerve-wracking because I didn't know what to expect. But having that confidence that was built in me from the military, I think allowed me to keep pushing through and just trust the process.
So when you're in the military and you're having a bad day, bad week, bad month, you're getting yelled at, you're feeling like you're struggling sometimes, and I got to believe that happens, especially in boot camp.
Mhm.
Um, but you can't quit. That's not an option. I guess it is an option, but when you're in the middle of Syria, quitting is not an option. At Cyber Warrior Academy, were there times when you were struggling and you didn't understand concepts and you wanted to quit, but you didn't?
100%. Absolutely. I would say for me, the the only time that I encountered that feeling of wanting to quit was, I think, the first couple weeks, because it was such a rough transition from knowing nothing and just kind of getting thrown into the wolves, and like introduced to this new field and this new industry that I had zero knowledge about. I like felt like an imposter. I was like, I don't belong here. I don't know anything. I don't know how I'm going to succeed. But it was just that mentality of, you just got to keep pushing. Like, at the end of the day, I chose to be here. And so that, to me, that tells me like there's something about this field, this industry, and this program that drew me to want to succeed in this. And so I just stick with it, and just kind of, how in the military you have to go back to remember why you signed up. Why did you join? And so for me, it wasn't like, oh, this sounds cool, I'm going to join this program, it'll be fun. For me, it was, I need to get a career, and I need to have a good job that'll let me have success for my kids. I'm not thinking of me, what's best for me. I'm thinking of what's better for my children and for my future, what's going to set them up for success and put them in a good environment to where they, have the opportunities that I didn't have. Because now, if you were to ask me, I'm sure my questions would be different if I didn't have kids. But now that I have kids, everything that I do is for them and making sure that they have a better life than I did.
Okay. So there were times that you struggled. Was there a moment when you were a Cyber Warrior student where it was sort of an aha moment? Oh, now it all suddenly came together. Was there that epiphany moment, or was it an evolutionary thing where by the end of the program you figured, okay, now I can do this, or did it finally just click one day?
It just kind of clicked one day. I mean, I struggled with, doing the A plus and the net plus, but then once we got to security plus curriculum, I, it just started clicking with me, and I kind of found what clicked for me, like the security. I was like, oh, this is what I remember from doing all my research, like the security aspect. And then that's what drew me and sucked me in, because cybersecurity is so broad, but there's so many different avenues that you could uh, excel in. And so when I found the security plus section of CyberWarrior, that's when it started to click for me, and I started to get my confidence back, and that's when I started to get the ball rolling and start to excel and kind of get that feeling that, all right, I do belong here. I can do this.
Now I know that Cyber Warrior Academy is obviously an online
Mm-hmm.
live instruction class. So take this euphemistically. How often at Cyber Warrior did you sort of look to your left and look to your right and say, okay, the people in this class are going to help me succeed, and I'm going to help them succeed?
Yeah, I think for me it was when when you get put in a class with 30 people. We didn't know each other, but it was after a few weeks that realizing that we're in this together. We all have the same goal in mind. It was, building those relationships with the fellow students, where we were able to, at the end of class, we'd hop on a Zoom together and we'd all go over what we just learned. We'd go over curriculums together. We would help each other with our homework, with our labs, and just kind of have that team bonding experience, to where, we're in this together. There's no need for us to fail individually. Like, let's succeed together. And so, having those discords, or even just during our classes, like talking with each other and meeting up after class, and helping each other study. And one person didn't understand this, but I did. good. Now I'm going to hop on a Zoom with them and try to get them onto my level and vice versa. So it was a very, I wouldn't say transactional, but it was just very, it was nice having other people in this class, because if I struggled, someone else succeeded. So they were able to give me a helping hand, and in return, I was able to do the same.
So are there certain skills that you mastered at CyberWarrior that have most helped you succeed at Nays Corporation?
Yeah, I would say honestly, it's just my being exposed. You know, CyberWarrior. What I really liked about this program that I think helped me succeed was all the hands-on experience and all the labs that I got to do, and just having all that hands-on experience on a daily basis with CyberWarrior, where I got to learn and gave me the ability to feel, accomplished, that I could complete any tasks, and then just kind of raise that visibility and awareness into this industry. And so when I transitioned into the workforce, I already had, I'm not a master at this career field, but it gave me, I believe, an edge of a level of comfortability where, it's new, but I'm like, hey, I saw this in CyberWarrior. This is similar to what I did in CyberWarrior, and gave me awareness and knowledge to at least apply what I knew. So it kind of gave me a step above. Yeah, I believe it gave me an advantage starting off at the company.
Okay. So, and this is a great conversation because it's making me think about so many different things that I want to talk with you about. You're sitting at Thanksgiving dinner, and you're a family guy, obviously. What are people more interested in, your cybersecurity career or your life as a correctional officer or in the military? Is there, you know what I'm getting at? I mean,
Yeah.
does anyone care about your cybersecurity career? Or are they more into the cool and sexy stuff that you did before?
Well, it kind of depends, because for the most part, it's with the military and the corrections. I have crazy stories and experiences that they just want to pick my brain about, and just kind of be like, wow, like I never knew that could happen, or I'm glad that I didn't do that, or I'm glad that didn't happen to me. But then when I start talking about cybersecurity, there's this meme from Always Sunny in Philadelphia with Charlie Day. He has a whiteboard, and behind him he's got a whole bunch of scribbles and words and stuff there. And he turns around, he's got bags under his eye. He's like crow's feet, and he's just looks all crazy. I'm like, well, I feel that it's me every time I try to explain cybersecurity to people who don't know cybersecurity. And so, I try to make it sexy and try to sound cool, where, my job is to prevent, hackers from getting into our system and stealing money. But then it's very, I think, difficult for me, at least right now in my early stages, to explain it without being so technical where it just goes right over everyone's head.
Right. So it strikes me that part of your job also, and maybe you have other people doing this. You guys operate power plants, right?
Correct.
Well, isn't it a bad day if a hacker gets into the plant and shuts down the energy production, or is that somebody else that does that?
Yeah. So at least with us at Nays, we more focus on, if an investor wants to buy a power, regeneration plant, they look to, it's more expensive if they, hire employees, and they got to pay for retirements, they got to pay for insurance, medicals, all that stuff. So they look for O&M providers, which is Nays, and so they come to us, and we staff that plant for them. And kind of like the agreements we have is that the plant is owned by that third party investor, and so they're responsible for maintaining security at their facilities. They have their own cybersecurity programs that they hire third parties for and whatnot. And so, I mean, if an incident does happen, I'm sure it's somewhere in our contracts, depending on the plants, because we have over 200 plants. It just depends on, I guess, their playbook if they want us to get involved or not.
Right. Or if you're, or if, because your systems do merge with each other at some level. There's email communication, you're sharing sites, you're sharing different data points. All are penetrable
Yeah, and
by
that's where it's
a threat
important
actor.
to segment, just to have the segmentation to make sure that the OT environment at the plant cannot touch anything from the corporate side, because if there's any of that one-to-one connection, all it takes is a user to click an email and download something, and then give the threat actor a couple of days, couple weeks, a month or whatnot, being undetected, and they can lateral over to the OT environment, the plants. And so that's where we come into play of making sure that we have segmentation where none of our corporate side will ever touch the plants.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's your fondest memory of CyberWarrior Academy?
To be honest, for me, what really left an impact was the ambassador nights. On Wednesdays, having those different those ambassadors every Wednesday coming to speak with us. From all different realms of cybersecurity in different industries and different fields. Talking to us, explaining their career paths. Understanding that cybersecurity is such a diverse field. And not one person, there's not one specific path to get into cybersecurity. Everyone comes from different backgrounds. Everyone has different experiences. Everyone has different knowledge backgrounds. And so no matter, cybersecurity is, it's open to anybody. It really is. It's not just you have to be a specific type of person or have specific backgrounds to get in this field. You can be anybody off the streets, learn these skills and get in. And so it was very nice to understand, just each ambassador is different. And also, I think it helped me get rid of my imposter syndrome, just feeling like I didn't belong, because, every Wednesday, got to see someone new and realized, everyone's different. Like, I feel like I don't belong, but over time, I guess, meeting new people and hearing their stories, it allowed me to get comfortable and realize that I do belong.
Cool.
I will say also, I think I went back to, it was getting that hands-on experience, because there's not many, I would say there's not very educational paths where you get a lot of hands-on experience and get that knowledge to where, this is an educational program, but I treated CyberWarrior as an apprenticeship, because I was not just learning, I was able to apply my knowledge and skills, like physically in environments. And so getting that hands-on experience, I think, gave me the self of accomplishment and more confidence in the ability to belong in this career field.
So do you draw from the labs that you did as a student and apply those lessons learned or those experiences in your current job?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's been a while since I was in the program, but to my knowledge, I know we did a lot of vulnerability management in the program, and just being able to set up scans and, all the different attributes that go into scanning and what to look for and how to read a vulnerability scan and all that stuff. I do vulnerability scans almost weekly or monthly here at my current job. And so, when I first started at my company, I think that gave me oh, I know how to do this. I've had tons of practice before. And so when I sat down with my peers at work and they're showing me, oh, this is how we run vulnerability scans, I was like, oh, I know how to do this. And I'd set it up and they're like, wow, okay, cool. Good for you. I think it's given me an edge, definitely, for sure.
Nice. That means, though, that if you had just been reading off of a text, or because we obviously we have slide decks that we present skill sets. If you didn't have the labs, you wouldn't have felt as prepared to do the work you're doing today. The labs really helped you understand application.
Yeah, 100%. I am not, for me specifically, I can't learn just from reading a textbook. I have to, get my hands dirty and actually complete something for me to retain the knowledge and learn. And so it was, I don't think I would have been as successful as I am currently if I didn't have hands-on labs.
Got it. Okay. So Dakota, what am I missing here? We've been talking for, I don't know, 45 minutes or so. What what am I missing? What do you want to talk about? Are you following the Diamondbacks?
Man, see, I moved to Arizona just a couple months ago. I mean, I attempted to go to college out here. I had a lot of family out here, but I'm born and raised in Seattle, and I will die a Seahawks and Mariners fan. And so, I mean, I do follow the Diamondbacks out here just because, it's a good story, and I do like the underdogs. I do like the teams that are fighting every day to prove that they belong. And, you know, I think that the reason why I like all these underdogs, and I always like rooting for the teams or the guys that aren't getting enough praise, is because I feel like I'm always an underdog. I feel like I'm an underdog story to where I'm always overlooked and not talked about, and then all of a sudden here I go, like, hands and knees in the dirt, working and grinding, and making my way to the top. And so I am rooting for the Diamondbacks to hopefully, make a comeback and beat the Phillies in the NLCS. But I'm a Mariners fan through and through. It's a sad season we had, but
it's all right. Anything I've missed that you think is important in this conversation of cybersecurity and your career path and how you've gotten to where you are today?
Honestly, I think we've covered a good chunk, from where I was to where I got into cybersecurity and how it's helped me, I feel, adapt into this new career field. I would say that cybersecurity in general is such a broad field, and there's so many avenues that you could take to be successful in this career field. And what I did and what I recommend to anyone who's getting into the cybersecurity field is take what you know and what you're good at from your previous life and work, and find a way to apply it to cybersecurity and stick with it.
Good way to end. Okay, Dakota Roice, hey, thank you so much for joining us today. Very much appreciate it. You are a true friend of CyberWarrior Academy, and you are a professional in the field that is rising, and you're gonna fill the role of your boss in the not too distant future. I'm pretty confident of that. So thank you again, and I look forward to staying in touch with you and watching your career trajectory. And again, thanks for joining our Cybersecurity Awareness Month event.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Have a great day. Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.